So this is how you hit level 3 before the druid grove fight in Baldur's Gate 3. I was originally gonna just upload this with like no audio, or with game audio, but for some reason my audio didn't pick up on the recording, so I'm not doing that. So I guess I'll explain my thought processes at some points. How do I speed up? Speed up? Speed? I'm just gonna go faster, I guess. I don't know. I tried to mimic as much of a like actual starting playthrough. You can see it as honor mode, as usual in this. So I will be just like grabbing loot all over the place throughout the beginning. I think it's valuable money making at the start. For spells, I just sort of picked up rituals. Featherfall is literally just for that jump because I was trying to go fairly fast. It still took me quite some time. That's whatever. And then Thunderwave, just AoE spells are strong. And then I would say the only two you really need here, like Featherfall is again just for that one jump. Longstrider is just because it makes my life more convenient, makes things faster. I prefer it. I will say, and Mage Hand is, I don't think I ever actually ended up using it, but you can Mage Hand in the final room of the Nautiloid for bulbs and stuff, but I'm not actually doing a playthrough here, so it doesn't matter to me. And also, Blazel has one. That's fine. The only two I would say are actually necessary if you're doing any spellcaster that gets them are Minor Illusion and Disguise Self. Disguise Self isn't actually necessary if you're as long as you accept Shadowheart as a companion. Just changing gear out because she has Disguise Self through her subclass. But Disguise Self just helps with a performance check later on. I'm playing, the character I'm playing right now is a half-wood elf bard with a performer background, so I have proficiency in, I believe, deception, persuasion, performance, and either sleight of hand or stealth. I don't remember which. But I have +5 to both, I believe, so maybe both? I don't remember. So yeah, pretty standard. Just make sure you, like, killing these guys is actually an important thing to do. Just 20 XP for completely free. I don't actually know if turning them into Mind Flayers does anything different, and I forgot to Longstrider them, so I'm doing it there. I don't know if I haven't checked if turning them into Mind Flayers gives more XP, but I can say with certainty it's not necessary for level 3, so I just don't think it's worth the risk. It's just something I always remember to do around here in every single run I play. I don't know why. Although you will see later, I forget to do it until the very end of the playthrough, up to the Withers fight. On, I think, Gale. You get, what's her name? Shadowheart here. She makes the only actual like required reset of this strategy doable, which is or more consistent. Not doable. It's always doable, just not with consistency. You need to kill the Mind Flayer for the 75 XP, which is automatic level 2 on dropping out of the Nautiloid. So obviously that's a huge buff. I'm a bit neurotic about inventory management, so I will be doing this a few times. I can skip through it. Yeah, but Shadowheart's very helpful, not required, but very helpful for the consistency here, because if without it, you may be resetting quite a bit. You can see I changed some spells out here. Sanctuary is I take command for the drop, obviously, pretty normal strat. And then I take Sanctuary, because if we're in an awkward spot, once the Mind Flayer dies, I can just Sanctuary whoever's closest to the thing and run. This fight was actually pretty clean, which is awkward because, or funny, because it's my dog. I started off really bad, like embarrassingly bad, honestly, because I was just trying to go kind of fast. I don't particularly put a lot of thought into my plays. I will also say I got less light crossbows than I'm used to. Usually I have 3, and I just got my third one right there. So I'm playing without a crossbow on Shadowheart, which I'm not used to, and also I forget to equip it throughout the entire thing. Anyways, pretty standard Nautiloid fight for the start. I got pretty good damage rolls, so we're kind of in a fast Nautiloid, but nothing too big. Generally, I think it's worth it to check the Thrall bodies and the Mind Flayer bodies. So you see there, I was considering having him drop the sword then, but that sort of just draws the fight out quite a bit. Start getting some damage on the Mind Flayer. You want to make sure he doesn't drop below like 25-ish, because typically, from my experience, the Cambian's going to do between Zalk or whatever his name is going to do between 12 and 15 damage every turn. So I try to keep him above 24. I'd assume low rolls, because like, you know, it's like 10 minutes in, it's not that much of a waste of time if things go bad. Just picking some stuff up. Like I said, wanted to like mostly make a real start, just to show that like you don't have to go out of your way to do weird shit. The only thing I would have done differently, had this been like a normal run, is I wouldn't have taken the Performer feat, probably. I probably would have taken Charlatan or Criminal, but not a big deal. I decided 21 isn't really enough to start attacking with yet, but it's enough to drop. Luckily got it on my first time. It's a 55% chance, so technically more likely to happen, but like just barely. Lae'zel does some weird-ass pathing that I don't notice. So he's going to start doing 12 damage every turn. He does 6 damage with his hits. So I opt to not hit the Mind Flayer this turn, because I'm pretty sure I can consistently kill next turn. I think about Thunderwaving and then decide not to, with my Tav, who I very creatively named LOL. Sacred Flame is probably not the best play there. If I had a crossbow on Shadowheart, I'd go with that. But I got my 75 XP, and I'm actually not really in danger. I don't particularly give a shit about us, even if this were a real run. I never find him useful, so I use him to take the attack of opportunity and hope that the commander targets him on the next turn, because like if something gets fucked up and happens, I don't really care. But in case you don't get us, like you fail the checks or whatever, or I mean, you don't have to do any checks for him, but you know what I mean. In case you don't have us for whatever reason, you just take Sanctuary on Shadowheart. I believe I said that earlier. And then I misclicked there and accidentally hid. Of course, it doesn't actually matter because I can just dash with the Tav. But yeah, that's it. And then I'm gonna speed up a little bit, and you'll see right as soon as we land, level 2. So that's the first big step. This is actually something I usually wouldn't do. I'd usually just wait till I get Shadowheart. Spells really are personal preference. I like dodges for CC. I think it's better than sleep. Skip dialogue. And then spells here, of course, just like utility spells mostly, because I typically have her take a crossbow, and then I forgot to equip it, so she was kind of low-key useless through the rest of this. Shadowheart's base stats are like fucking god-awful. So, yeah. Yeah, I just loot a bit. Nothing too special yet. I would recommend always looking in these crates down, like, by the thing. There's usually, like, kits, or like a lockpicking kits or whatever. Thieves' tools. That's what they're called. These guys usually have money or gems or like valuable selling things. So I think the first beach is always worth looting. I typically loot everything because I'm fucking I know life and don't have like time restraints really outside of like classes, and it's summer right now. But it's always worth it to get a little extra gold if you can. But I know people don't necessarily like that. So obviously you don't get any XP from that. Completely irrelevant to the story, or not the story, the strategy. It's just how I choose to play the game. We get Gale. I believe you get 30 XP for recruiting Gale. Just make him an Abjuration Wizard because it's fine. Probably should have gone Divination just for this, but if I were doing an actual playthrough, I always reclass after I get Withers, and so it doesn't matter. I actually do fuck up here. I walked too close without sneaking because I just forgot to sneak. So it initiates the dialogue, which I actually thought I had to reset for, but I didn't, luckily. You can just pause and then attack. You lose the surprise round, and I actually ended up taking a lot of extra damage and using one of my short rests, which usually would have tilted me, but it's not really a big deal. I probably shouldn't have shielded that either. I think Gale dies anyways. Just a normal fight. I kind of troll. Lae'zel's not even out of her cage, unfortunately. I actually do think you can trigger this fight by letting Lae'zel out before they walk away, which probably would have been better because we would have had the fourth person. But it doesn't really make that much of a difference. Again, I was mimicking a normal playthrough, but not really playing as if it were one. My brain was on go fast, not play well mode. So yeah. But okay, generally pretty easy fight. I think I've had one run ever. It was a solo warlock run, which is, I think, pretty weak. Level 2, honestly. At least the way I play. Where that fight's given me trouble. I don't multi-class anyone. I just Lae'zel's level 2. Whatever. A level 2 fighter. I did forget to turn Gale's opportunity reaction to Ask, which was annoying because he does have shield, so I'd like to not have him attacking, but I don't think it ever mattered. So yeah, this is one of the only important parts to note right here. So you want to initiate this dialogue check with these two guys down here. It's very important. I would recommend, if you're just trying to get level 3, you have at least decent charisma. And then immediately after you finish the dialogue, you'll see you get 50 experience for the dialogue, and then you're going to hold shift press space to go into turn-based mode before they can start running away. And then you can kill them, and you get another 40 experience, so you come close to doubling the experience from this. I've fucking trolled this fight too. I forgot to minor illusion to get the others close. I'm pretty sure you can do that with the dialogue, but I take so much unnecessary damage from this fight, but we get through it. It doesn't really make that much of a difference, like I said. You want to kill everyone, obviously. Oh, that's when Gale dies, right? I knew he died at some point. Or goes down. Always fun to push people off stuff. And And yeah, at this point you'd think I'd remember to give Shadowheart her crossbow, but no, I'm just not smart. Excuse me. So yeah, we just loot the bodies, and then you're gonna want to go backwards. The order here doesn't really matter, but I like finishing Wither's stuff and then hitting level 3 immediately for reclassing. But again, it doesn't really matter. I actually don't remember if reclassing is level 3 if reclassing is level 3, if hirelings are level 3. I know one of them is. I checked that chest again because I forgot if I got the XP for it. Oh, that's another important thing to note. This chest up here, you gain a small amount of XP, but it's still some XP for it. So make sure you go for it. You can have strength as a dump stat and still do all the jumps for it. I have 8 strength on this character because I refuse to play strength builds. I just think they are boring. I again forgot to long strider. Like I said, brain is a little turned off here. And forgot to shift. Or sneak, rather. Stealth, that's what it's called. I have no idea why that was acting like that, because it was definitely in range to Sacred Flame, but again, not a huge deal. I should have attacked the other one, because it's in range to not have to dash and hit the ranged spell, but it doesn't matter. I would recommend, generally, if you're beginning on, like, starting trying honor mode runs, generally you don't need to. You can do this fight easily with 2 people. But if you're new to it, I would recommend going up the side of the mountain and getting Gale and Lae'zel before this fight, because it can sometimes be a bit of a check just for the early game, which can get a bit frustrating if you're struggling, for sure. That's just like a general beginner tip, which I assume if you're on this video you've played at least one honor mode run before, so you probably don't need it, but it's always helpful. Always check Mind Flare bodies for speed pots. I think I get 2 from them. And then you always come up here, just, it doesn't matter if you do the dialogue or not. I think it's always 35 XP from this Mind Flare. I just kill him, it's more fun. And then recruit Astarion or kill him. I think you get the same XP for both. I always recruit, because you get more things to sell if you are min-maxing, and also you get the companion. In case you weren't aware of it, over here, because like I said, trying to mimic a real playthrough, over here is a rock you can move with a nature check, and then a high strength character, which is why you should have Lae'zel before coming over here, because unless you have a high strength Tav, Shadowheart can technically move it, but it'll take a while, and Gale cannot, and Astarion cannot. So you need a high strength character to move that rock, but you get two speed potions and some sellables. There's also, if you read the stuff from it, it shows where a hidden item is. I don't actually know. I think it's a chest I already found. Never lockpick that box I just shot. Just break it. Saves you a check and potentially a lock or a thieves tool. Clamshells sell for like 2 gold, but like I said, I loot goblin perma, so I pick up the 2 clamshells over here always. There's one on each side. And yeah. So at this point, we're kind of out of XP. I think I forgot to loot the goblin bodies, which is kind of tragic, but that's okay. So this is where Disguise Self comes in. Like I said, Shadowheart does have Disguise Self. She also has a -1 to Charisma, I believe, or to Performance, I think. It's either Performance or Deception. I'm pretty sure it's a -1 to the check. So if you have a Charisma-based spell, like a Warlock or a Bard, Tav you should probably get Disguise Self on them, or even like a not negative any other spellcaster, because generally you want your face to have some charisma. You can Disguise Self in a gnome and get a different check. And then you get a free surprise round, which you can generally, unless you get unlucky with your attacks, generally you can kill him in one round. Excuse me. Got a cool crit. But I believe I paused there because one of my cats was urinating on my floor. It's just a fun fact. Like I said, I loot Goblin. I actually believe there is a Winecroft, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that word correctly, on that, which is like a 1 camp supply item, but it's better than nothing. I almost forgot to sneak there, which would have made me reset the run. You don't need to go into turn-based mode for Minor Illusion. I think it makes it more consistent, but you're in a Minor Illusion around the fire barrel, and then if you're in turn-based mode, skip. If not, if you're not in turn-based mode, when they're all surrounded like this, you're gonna go into turn-based mode and have either not Lae'zel. If you have Firebolt, you can start it, or you can have Astarion, Shadowheart, or Gale. They all start with Firebolt. Just hit the exploding thing, and yeah, it'll do a lot of damage to pretty much everyone. Generally, I think I got pretty lucky on this fight. Usually it does less, which leads me to believe that starting this fight in turn-based mode is the way to go. But I don't want to say that with like complete confidence, so don't completely trust me on that. So yeah, so just finish off this fight and loot their bodies and stuff. Not much to comment on there. Open up the door or unlock like the secret path or whatever. Actually, don't. I think I think it unlocks the door. I don't know. Like the lever in the library. Another like kind of important perception check is coming up. I kind of wish I failed it just so I could show how to deal with this if you fail. Of course, you can always lockpick the door, but you don't need to. If you don't get this sarcophagus, have everyone but your lockpicker leave the room, and then it'll automatically enter turn-based mode. So set the trap off, do the lockpick, and then you can dash out, or maybe you don't. I don't know if you can dash after you lockpick. I don't remember, because I don't really use turn-based mode that much. But you can get out of the room without taking any damage. If you fail that perception check on the main sarcophagus, you lose out on some loot that you like in the other ones. But like the other big chest, you can go around to the first waypoint you find on the beach and open the door with a lockpick check, and get that chest with like minimal damage. I forget another tip, and if you somehow don't know this, loot these bodies. They don't have weapons if you do. I forget to get this guy down here, like on the ground, on the main level, so it doesn't really matter. You see I equipped my Tav with quarterstaff. I don't actually know if it's that important to do, because I dumped strength, but the enemies are all weak to bludgeoning, so I always do this. I feel so many checks here. Generally, it's good if you can pass this with your Tav, because I believe everyone gets the XP for it, but I'm gonna be wrong. But this will give Gale and Shadowheart 20 XP. If you're an Acolyte or a Sage, it'll also give you 20 XP for passing these checks. Um, Unfortunately, it uses religion, which is an intelligence check, and then strength, which is a strength check. And I almost on almost every character I've done a full playthrough with, those have been dump stats for me. I pretty much only use wisdom, charisma. Like I either play wisdom based characters, charisma based characters, or dex characters, and then obviously con is never a dump stat. So yeah, unfortunate, but just the classes I enjoy are not that. I always kind of spread my guys out and have them sneak at the start of the fight. Shadowheart failed her stealth check, which is obnoxious. I don't think I've ever actually had that happen before, but it's whatever. And my Tau did 2 damage, which was a bit unfortunate. Possibly, I mean, literally the second lowest roll possible, I think. It means they got a 1 on damage out of 0 to 7, which is 1d8. So it means they rolled 2. And then multiplied because resistance. And then you see there, I forgot to do Gale's reaction. But we fixed it. This fight is a little annoying the way I did it, just because the one entombed like skeleton with good stats, the one with like 15 AC or whatever, which at this point of the game is pretty decent for enemies, I forgot to take his scimitar, so it causes like a little bit of trouble. My Tav like gets crit at one point, but you know, not too big a deal. With this strat, I don't know, at least for me, I don't think I would be able to do it at this point. So on like a solo run, I think it is possible though. I think I struggle a lot with the fight before this one on solo runs, so I try to delay that to like level 4. I usually do it like later. But I think it would be pretty easy to do with 2 characters only. The only place I could really see that being an issue is the Nautiloid, unless you're playing like a cleric. And then your spell save DC might be better than Shadowheart's because she kind of sucks. her base stats are poorly optimized. And then of course you might be trapped into Trickery Domain for Disguise Self if you're doing that on a solo run. But on a duo run, I could see this being pretty easy. But you might have to optimize your build a bit more if you're trying this solo, specifically for this. But I could see it being done fairly easily even without those optimizations. Just might take a few resets. I get annoyed at the fight and just Thunderwave, so I don't have to do attack rolls. And then I'm like, don't need to waste spells, forgetting that I'm not going to continue playing these characters. You see, we're almost out of XP to get here, and we need 39 left. I think this gives 50, this dialogue. Only 30. Don't know where the extra 9 came from, but it's enough to get everyone up to level 3. It's worth noting, and I don't know why, but on at least one of my playthroughs, everyone but my Tav hit level 3, and my Tav was 9 XP off. So I'm not exactly sure why that happened. I will note it was on a lower difficulty. It was a balanced run that I'm doing to try to get the last handful of achievements, just so I don't have to think while I play. But yeah, this is basically just like a how to get level 3 before the Druid Grove fight, like the fight outside the Druid Grove. Again, don't know why I'm putting any thought into these and never load. I'm gonna delete this file. But yeah, that's how you do it. It's pretty simple. Like, there's one reset point, and like all you have to really do is like chill. So yeah, everything
is pretty straightforward, except for that one little dialogue and then attacking thing. I found that out from a YouTuber named the Friendly Lich, who does solo runs. So I'm gonna link the video where I found that out in the description. Everything else, is pretty standard, but I always find myself hitting level 3 immediately after the Druid Grove. So I spent some time trying to figure out exactly how to go about getting level 3 before it, and I figured out a way to do it pretty consistently outside of the one balance run. Every time I've done it on honor mode, I've hit level 3 doing exactly this. So, yeah. Thanks.